Clothes, even for the tiniest children, were elegant rather than practical. This was an age when, for all generations, the quality of one's dress was a mark of social status and aspiration. A more modest existence, but a comfortable one nonetheless, was enjoyed by the growing number of so-called lower middle-class families settling into their new suburban semis. The availability of cheap mortgages, covering up to 95% of the purchase price, meant that the average skilled manual or white-collar worker on an income this 1925 Buick were perhaps more a matter of status than of practicality. But it wouldn't be long before the motor car came to the masses. The number of car owners in Britain rose to 2 million by 1939 from just 32,000 in 1907. So, when the day's work was over, just what could these factory employees look forward to? Imperial Airways was the name of the company formed in 1924 to take control of all air services to and from Britain. Early air travel was, not surprisingly, expensive. Fiasco for the Allies. But we are not downhearted. The news from the continent may be black, but let's make the most of the spring sunshine while we can. Whitsun, of course, was the old movable bank holiday that fell 7 weeks after Easter. So it's off to school or work, and uphill all the way by the look of it. Mill chimneys marked the northern landscape. Petrol rationing continued for several years after the war, and bicycles and Shanks's pony remained everyday modes of transport. King's Cross, an express is leaving for the north. The tender now carries the name British Railways. It was in Blackpool, and on their way, these guests crossed a North Country ford in their own ford, a Ford Prefect to be precise. Soon they passed the county boundary in the valley called the Trough of Bowland. Blackpool is feeling autumnal, and the illuminations are up, from Victorian times through to today. But in the 1950s, several places still had their old-style systems, including Liverpool. This is actually the last week for Liverpool's trams, which finished for good on the 14th of September 1957. In June 1953, every town and village had its celebrations and parties, but London led the way with a stunning extravaganza of colour and festivity.